Hi, and welcome back to our latest installment of BoKnows, our Ask Me Anything series where you can ask me, Bo Howell, co-founder and CEO of Jude, any question you want related to compliance, fintech, anything. Click here on the link to submit your question, and each week we'll pick at least one question to answer from our users. So our question for today is really kind of a three-part question, and it's one of the most common ones we get when working with new clients. And the question is, how does compliance fit into my business? And two follow-up questions to that are, how much time should I be spending on compliance? And how much money should I be spending on it? And when you think about starting an RIA business, right, what are the first two things you do? Well, the first thing you do is legal, right? You got to set up the corporate entity. And the second thing you do is you got to register with the SEC. That's a compliance function. Before you're doing client relations, before you're doing portfolio management, before you get your first dollar in the door and start the accounting process, before any operations commence, you have to register. That is a compliance function. That starts the business along with legal, and it continues throughout the whole business. So how much time should you be spending on it? Well, I think it's safe to say you should not be spending as much time on compliance as you do on business development, client relations, and portfolio management, right? Those are your core services and should really make up the bulk of your firm's time. And when I say firm's time, I'm kind of aggregating all of your employees together. How much time can you get out of all of your employees? But when you think about compliance, it's certainly something that should be done more often than accounting and finance, right? Accounting and finance might be something you just do on a monthly basis. You send out invoices, maybe you do your books at the end of the month, maybe it's quarterly, you do taxes at the end of the year. Compliance is more than that, right? Because compliance has to monitor all the areas of your business. It's not something that you can just do a couple times a year. You can't do it on just a semi-annual basis. Compliance is happening daily, weekly, quarterly, monthly. So it's very frequent. So it should be above, the amount of time you spend on accounting and finance, but below how much time you spend on client relations and portfolio management. There's really no hard and fast rule as to how much time you should be spending, but the rule of thumb that I like to think about is at a minimum of 10%, right? And the way I kind of come to that number is if you're a 10-person firm, and you have 9 people, say, dedicated to your 4 core pillars, you should at least have one person fully dedicated to compliance, right? Because that one person has to monitor everything the other 9 people are doing. So at a minimum, you should be spending 10% of your firm's time on compliance. Some firms, depending on complexity, it could go up to somewhere around 20, 25%, maybe even 30%, depending on your business risk. But at a minimum, it should be 10% of your time. So that's my rule of thumb. That's our answer. If there are any follow-up questions to this, again, click on the link, go ahead and submit it to us. And if you want to email me, you can email me at bo.howell@jute.io. You can tell me I'm wrong. You can ask more questions. I'd love to hear from you. Talk to you soon.